Hi everybody, welcome back to the Press Gang Restaurant and Oyster Bar here in Halifax, Nova Scotia. I'm Chef Brian, and we're going to go through some of the tips and tricks that we use to create our amazing dishes here at the restaurant. Typically when you talk about Nova Scotia and food in the same conversation, you're talking about seafood, oysters, scallops, lobster, and of course, why not? But let me tell you, after you taste this, we've got a new player for the conversation. Nova Scotia lamb. I'm telling you, this is amazing. Beautiful fat cap. The eye is nice and big, and it's got a beautiful texture. Today with this lamb, we're going to be doing a sage polenta, some honey roasted pistachios, roasted parsnips, and a fig balsamic reduction. All right, let's get at that polenta. So as I mentioned, we're going to do a sage polenta. I've got some beautiful fresh sage here from my friends at Riverview Herbs. We're just going to go through and give this a nice rough chop. So I've got my water boiling. Let's add some cornmeal into the pot. We'll just whisk that right into the water. As the cornmeal cooks and absorbs that water, this is going to thicken up really nice. All right, so as we're cooking, I'm going to give it a little bit of salt. Some pepper. Incorporate that all in there. You can see it's starting to get a little thick now. And once it does start to thicken up a bit, you're going to want to turn down the temperature just a little bit, because when it starts to vigorously boil, the bubbles get big and it starts shooting hot polenta everywhere if you're not careful. So we want to try to avoid that a little bit. I'm going to switch over to a spoon to mix, and I'm going to fold in some knobs of butter. See that boiling action happening. I've got some grated brie cheese here that we're going to fold into it as well. This is going to give a richness and a depth to the polenta, a nice creamy texture as well. And then our fresh chopped sage, we're going to put that right in at the end just to make sure that we keep that nice strong punch of herb flavor. So now I'm going to take this, I'll turn the heat off, and we're going to transfer it to a greased metal pan. Smooth it over just a little bit. I'm going to take this, I'm going to put it in the walk-in fridge, let it cool completely, then we'll take it out and we'll portion it for service. All right, so we've got our polenta. It's chilled down. You can see how it's pulled away from the edges of the pan a little bit here. What I'm going to do is flip it upside down. Hopefully it's all going to come out in one piece. Let's see how it goes. All right? Hey, there we go. So I like to have a nice, clean, boxy cut on this. So what I'm going to do is trim the edges off. Now these end trim pieces, they get used for things like snacks before service. Then I'm just going to take the polenta, cut it down the center, and then for portions we're just going to cut nice rectangles. There we go, sage polenta. We'll see that a little later on the plate. All right, let's get this polenta seared. So it's cold right now. It's a lot easier to cut this when it's cold than when it's hot. When it's hot, it's a little gooey. So we're going to cut it in half like that. Then we're going to go into a nice hot pan. Give it a nice sear. Once it sears a little bit, we're going to flip it over. We're going to put it in the oven. This should be done around the same time that the lamb is done. And then we'll put it all on the plate and we'll see how this beautiful dish comes together. All right, so one of the sides that we're going to put with this lamb is parsnips, right? Big white carrot almost. Very floral flavor to it. It's going to go really well with the richness of the lamb and that flavor of the balsamic, and play real nice with the sage and that polenta. And I'm just going to nip the ends off. Like that. Cut this guy down the center. And remember how we talked about that knife technique. Make sure you keep your fingers curled. All right, we've got them all chopped up. Transfer them to a bowl. A little bit of oil. Some salt. and pepper. Mix that all around. Okay, we're going to put those on a pan, lined with some parchment paper. We're going to put those in the oven. Let those roast for a little while. We'll see you guys a little bit later when we go to plate. All right, guys, our polenta is set. Our parsnips are roasting. Let's start looking at this lamb. Beautiful Northumberland lamb again. We're going to cut this down into our portion size. So just half of the rack. All right, so we got our lamb all seasoned. Nice hot pan. Fat cap side down first. Put it in there and let it do its thing. You can see how it's starting to brown around the bottom edge of the meat there. That's sort of what we're looking for. All right, so here we go. Turn this guy over. Get that nice sear. I've got some rosemary, garlic, and oil. Just gonna put that over the top. Once we got that on there, we're ready to go in the oven. Now my oven rocks at about 500 degrees, so we'll let that play in there for about 5 minutes or so. All right, I think we're ready to go. Let's get that lamb out of the oven. That nice roast. So we're just gonna put that up on the tray here. Let that rest. You often hear this term, let it rest. Let our meat rest. What does that mean? So with the intense heat that goes into searing and then into the oven again, what that's doing is it's pushing all of the blood or liquid in that piece of meat into the center, right? So if you take it out and put it on the plate and just cut it right away, you're gonna get a big puddle on the plate. When you let it rest, it gives it the opportunity for all that juice to go back to where it's supposed to be in the lamb. Then when you cut it, it's just gonna be a beautiful piece of meat. We've got our parsnips here. Just gonna bring them up to temperature. Let's get our polenta out of the oven as well. Gonna bring that over and place it on the plate. Just like so. Our parsnips, nicely roasted, brought back up to temperature. We're just gonna let those play. All right, now let's check this lamb. It's had a chance to rest. Just gonna cut right down through the center. Beautiful. So for plating, I like to interlock the bones like that. Let that doneness show through onto the plate. We're going to garnish with our roasted pistachios and then finish with a little bit of fig balsamic reduction. And there you have it.